welcome to a new video on this channel. This time I'm going to release part 3 of my Go Vertical 1 series, where I present the exercises that I put together for athletes to jump higher and run faster like 5 to 10 years ago. A lot of it is still used, and I'm currently working out right here on this bench doing the exercises. And as you see, a lot of it can be makeshifted. I was still kind of minimal equipment even back then. And presumably the greatest thing about it is not just some exercises put together. It is not just no plan, they are built up on each other. There is valuable information and not just exercises. And yeah, of course, apologies for the 2010 to 2015 video quality. Things were very different back then, and now I'll continue my workout and you enjoy the video. Have fun.
Caution. This video is the property of Sports Nation. Passing the login details to other people, downloading or copying the following video module in any way is strictly forbidden. Any violation will be criminally persecuted. The following exercises can lead to serious injury doing them wrong or using inappropriate tools. Doing the exercises the right way under certain physiological or psychological circumstances can lead to serious injury as well. Always consult a doctor when doubting in something. Sports Nation will not take any liability for occurring injuries that happen during using the training program or in consequence in long term.
Up next, the centerpiece of my program, the speed strength exercises. I don't want to get too deep into the science at this point and dive into the practical part. The list consists of 21 exercises, where you will do a maximum of 4 exercises per workout. What you always have to keep in mind, rule number 1 for all of the upcoming exercises: maximum intensity. The intensity of every repetition of every exercise has to be at 100%. Every repetition of every exercise has to be done with the highest intensity possible. Numbers of reps will be low to ensure maximum intensity. When you feel like your intensity is lowering after your 4th repetition, when your training plan says you have to do 10, stop at that point. You will get to those 10 on another day. You have to catch up on it and improve your feeling. Quality is much more important than quantity. That is really important. Let's start. Something easy in the beginning. Squat down and try to jump up as fast and high as possible. Use your arms. In the right top corner, you see a level. This will be explained later. You should do 8 jump squats per set. When it's too much, stop wherever you are losing intensity. Always keep in mind, only 100% intensity helps you to reach your goals. Takeoffs are the second exercise. Use a few steps for a short approach and jump as high as possible with one leg. Bring your knee up and switch legs on the floor to complete 1 repetition. For every exercise that is done with one leg, repetitions are meant per side. For the takeoffs, we go for 6 reps, what equals 12 jumps. 6 with your right leg and 6 with your left. Use a box where you can easily jump onto. For beginners, I recommend about 1 foot, which is about 30 centimeters. When you're already into athletic training, go up to 2 feet, 60 centimeters. Better start with a lower box for this exercise, as we try to jump with not too much bend in your knees. When you have to bend your knees a lot, choose a lower box. Now we do the same exercise, but we try to go higher while bending the knees. During the process, you can increase the height of your box. Now we use a smaller box again. You should do the same movement on one leg. For these exercises, it is important to start with a comfortable height to minimize the risk of injury. Try not to bend your knee too much like in exercise 3. Normally, one leg is pretty strong and can generate about 75% of the force of what both legs do together. You need a line on the ground of a gym or a sports court, or you just put a rope on the ground. Jump back and forth over your line. Always start with a slower set to get used to the movement, and then you do 3 sets of 15 repetitions. 1 repetition is once back and forth. The same exercise with some lateral movement. We go side to side. I personally feel like this one is slightly easier in terms of coordination. Anyways, a slow preparation set is not a bad idea. From there you go full intensity, 100%. Do the same exercise on one leg. Again, we go for 15 repetitions. Let's continue with some hurdle jumps. Use small wickets in the beginning and go over them with a short break in between every one of them to pay more attention to every single jump. When you are through it, try to go over the wickets with only one quick contact in between. Increase the height over the weeks when you feel more comfortable. You can also do hurdle jumps with one leg. Don't forget to start with medium height and go for 5 hurdles. Use a small box where you can easily jump over. Go over it sideways and start again with a short break to emphasize the takeoff and proceed to more reactive jumps with short contact times on the ground beside the box. Increase the height of the box slowly because jumping higher laterally is much harder than vertical or horizontal jumps. You can also use a hurdle, what is easier. Take a solid object like a box or a stable chair that can hold your multiple body weight. Put your foot on top of it without overbending your knee. Jump up from only the upper leg as strong, fast and intense as you can. Land with the other leg on the object and the jumping leg on the ground. Repeat with the other leg and emphasize on the leg that is on the box again. It takes some time until you learn how to get a lot of force into the jump. For thrust-ups that go sideways, you put the ground leg on the side of the box. Now, similar to the exercise before, jump over your obstacle sideways and start again with a short break to emphasize the takeoff. A great exercise for the summer outside when you have a medicine ball available. Of course, you can also replace it with a stone or some other heavy object. Bend your knees a little, concentrate for a second, and then give as much force as possible into the ball to throw it over your head far behind you. The next exercise is easy to explain. Stand on one leg and try to jump as high and as far as possible in the other direction. Get into a lunge position. Try to jump as high as possible out of this stance and switch your legs in the air to have the other leg in front when you land. Get a slight bend in your knees and try to jump as far as possible from this position. It's the same as the broad jump, you only do it on one leg now. Land on both legs. 4 reps per side are enough to complete a set. Use light weights to get a little bit of resistance into your jump. You may use some full water bottles when you start doing this. Jump as high as you can from a squatting position and do not use the arms or the weights to generate more power by swinging. Just let them hang down. Look at how everything goes up at once. Maximum intensity.
Das erfordert ein wenig Übung.
One of the most simple but also most intense exercises. Especially with this one, it is super important to jump up as soft and reactive as possible. Just bounce up 8 to 10 times as high as you can, while keeping the ground contact time as short as possible. Depth jumps are also very intense exercises. Just as the vertical jumps, they should only be done by intermediate sportsmen. Step up onto a box in the beginning, about a foot or 30 centimeters are okay. Jump down, and again, try to limit ground contact time to a minimum to go up again as high as possible. If you don't have 5 boxes available, of course you can just turn around and jump down from one object again and again. Maybe you have already witnessed it. With the simple exercises, it is often about landing soft without making a lot of noise. This is step 1 for your development, and you have to learn this, especially to prevent injuries and to build a solid learning foundation for what is coming later. This can even contradict with the golden rule of maximum intensity, but only until you learn how to move more softly. When you have that in your repertoire, we can continue with exercises where you bring force from one jump into another jump. Now you should emphasize on to improve ground contact time, like you have just seen it in the depth jumps or in the vertical jumps. The time on the ground should decrease while you put in more speed and strength into your jumping movements. Please don't forget these 3 instructions. Let me repeat. First, performing the exercise safely, softly, stable, and without noise. Second, generate force in one jump and working on bringing it into the next one. Use a tiny elastic component in between if you want. Third, add speed and minimize ground contact time. And of course, the master rule above everything, always look for a maximum of intensity in every repetition.